Welcome back to the channel, and it is now race week for the Manchester Marathon, so stay tuned to see how I get on in the build up this week and how I get on the day, on race day on Sunday in Manchester. So this will be unlike any marathon build I've had in the past, and one I hope which will not happen again, because to provide a bit of context, I've had a bit of a long-term injury where my hip has been quite niggly. I can tell that something's been there for about the last 2 years really, so it's finally time I got it sorted. And I did take off a whole month of no running towards the end of January and most of February, so I've only been back running. This will be my 8th week coming up to a marathon, so, and in that time I've just been running easy aerobic running. I've not been strong enough to run any sessions, and I've been doing my physio work alongside this, as well as a bit of cross training in the form of some cycling and some swimming, which I guess has added to my aerobic load over this time. You might be thinking, with this build up, why am I running a marathon? As a sort of experienced runner and a coach as well, it's a pretty, I don't know, raises a few eyebrows and ask a few questions about it. So it is one that I'm running, not for a time, not for getting a PB, not for even going for a particular time, but I felt that during the injury over January, February period, I've had a lot of time where I've been missing races that I booked in for, and really during that period I've had nothing to sort of aim for and look forward to in terms of running during that time. So I wanted to say to myself, like I did with Ashby 20 that I did 3 weeks ago, that I wanted to have something to aim for, even if it wasn't the race that when I entered it thought I'd be running a bit quicker. I still wanted to sort of put in the training that would get me to the start line and get me around in one piece, because what I've been doing so far hasn't been hampering my injury. I've still got to be patient in terms of getting stronger and getting back to being able to run, sort of being not hampered soon, but it wasn't getting any better with rest. So it is just a process of keeping on doing strengthening and physio exercises to sort out this issue that I think has a few different factors. It's around my hip, it's the top of my thigh, it's my glute and my hamstring too. All seem to have taken the brunt of me not really getting sorted for a couple of years, so it may well take a few months to get it sorted, and I've got to be patient. But going back to why I'm doing it, it's really for that personal goal, that challenge, that I can train for something, I can get round, and obviously know that if it is going to cause me any damage, I won't push through. I can stop in the race. I can even not do the race on Sunday if going to physio tomorrow night recommends not doing it. I won't do it, but that's where we're at the moment. I'm checking in again on Friday, and you might be noticing that I am walking, I'm not running, and that is not a good sign, as I've not run now for 3 days, and I'll explain why. So as I said, yes, on Tuesday I was going to the physio on Wednesday evening, and really that was just to get confirmation of, well, first of all to see how it was, but I'd know by then how it was to make the decision about running at the weekend in Manchester Marathon. So the decision was pretty much made for me as I went in, got assessed, and kind of went, when's this marathon that's coming up? You're not still thinking of doing it, are you? So I pretty much knew then that yeah, it wasn't really going to be an option, and I think it's the right thing. As I said, that I was running, just some light running really, just what was comfortable, and I sort of built it up to a point where I felt that I'd got the fitness there to run a marathon with building up doing Ashby 20, and I felt that if my hip was going to be okay and wasn't going to be aggravated, that I would have been able to get round Manchester. But I've got to be sensible, and I've got to think of the risks and really what am I gaining from it by doing a marathon that I've already done about 3 times before, and I'm not going to get anywhere near any of the times I've done there. Not that it should all be about times, but not really got much of a purpose to be doing that marathon other than, I guess, sort of a sense of achievement of training for and finishing a marathon. So it's kind of minimized a bit with the amount I've done. I've done about 15 now, so I get it if I was raising money for charity, if I was training for, say, my first marathon, I'd sacrificed a lot, put all that work in, and I wasn't too bothered about how my body's going to be afterwards. I can see it was probably then that might have been a reason to again go and do the marathon, but as it is, I don't think there's anything really I can gain from doing this marathon other than just aggravate my injury and put myself back, could be even months, compared to actually not doing it. So I think it's a right call to not do it and to really focus on that recovery. So what am I doing to remedy this injury? And I'm in again next week with another physio at the same place, so just to get a second opinion and to get a fresh set of eyes on it, really, as we've been going away for about 6 or 8 weeks now and not made too much progress. So that's sort of the latest really in terms of what I can do. I can do the physio exercises. I know that they're going to help, they're not going to hinder. I'm not going to aggravate it by doing things that are going to help it. And the nature of the injury is a tendinopathy, so or one of the injuries at least. So with actually the nature of that tendinopathy, rest, which I had for a month before going for physio, wasn't helping. And the way to remedy these tendinopathies in the sort of short space of time I've been researching this is to load gradually. So you'll load it up until you get to a sort of low level of pain, and then you'll drop off a bit. You'll load it again and you'll drop off a bit, and your tendons will get used to that strain, that load. And that's really the only way, I think anyway, to go about trying to resolve it. I think if you rest it, you're not really getting any closer to getting back to what you want to do. It's a bit like if you're a gym goer and you want to progress your strength to sort of a level to be lifting a certain weight, you're not going to get there by just not lifting that weight and just not doing anything for a month and then expecting that you're going to be able to be stronger. I think it works in the same way, that you've got to gradually progress that load back again and get back to running. So where does that leave me now in terms of what I can actually do? So after we've spoken about the exercises, some strength work, I can still do the things that I was doing before in the sort of build up to what I was training for Manchester. So I can get on the bike, I can get swimming. I'm enjoying the swimming, getting in the pool, and feel like that's really helping my fitness and giving me a little bit of motivation outside of not being able to run really. So that, now it's better weather as well, it's better for cycling, so I can get outside on the bike rather than being stuck in the shed on Zwift. So that's a positive. And yeah, really just gonna take advantage of this time just to do something a little bit different, enjoy sort of building my fitness on the bike and in the pool, really nailing the physio exercises and a little bit of strength work to make sure that I can get over this injury and then make sure that it doesn't come back, or at least I'll know what to do when it does come back. Hopefully it won't, but at least I'll be experienced to see what I can do. So would I do anything differently if I was to look back at the start of my recovery around the end of February time? So we're talking about 2 months now. What would I have done differently to, I don't know, would I be in a better position if I did something differently? I feel that it's not really getting better, and that's because I've loaded up a bit too quick. I've gone from no running to, I got a little bit sort of carried away and excited in there that I could run sort of 4 or 5 miles a day. So I did that every day. Potentially could have had a little bit of time off in between these runs, but at the time it felt okay. I felt that loading it was doing a positive thing in terms of getting back, but I was also kind of under a little bit of pressure because I'd put that on myself that I wanted to do Ashby 20 and I wanted to do the marathon. So in the back of my mind I knew that what sort of was the safe thing to do realistically probably wasn't enough to get me through a marathon, or at least what I thought would get me through a marathon, with getting up to around 20 miles and getting a couple of runs in at this distance and building up to, I mean, I've got a couple of weeks in there at 50 miles a week, which wasn't too far off what I was running before I got injured. So I feel that, yeah, I probably did ramp up a bit too quick. I did put a bit of pressure on myself to get back and to run the marathon and not wanting to miss out on that. But at the time, I felt that with not really doing anything for a month or so in the winter, I needed something to, I don't know, give me a little bit of motivation, get me out doing my exercise again. I did enjoy running again, but I really just maybe got a bit carried away that I did a little bit too much, and then I've put myself in a position where it's not really healed. So I don't know, going back, it's easy to look back and think, yeah, I probably should have done a little bit less. But without that marathon, without Ashby, I could probably just done, I'd have probably not done a lot at all. Like, I don't think I'd have had that motivation to go out, get out there, and that's not good either. Like, I wouldn't have wanted to just sort of lock myself away and not run. So I got out to see friends. I sort of had a bit of normal life resumed after work, and yeah, I felt that I needed that at the time, although I knew in the back of my mind it was probably hampering my recovery a little bit. So it's definitely some things to reflect on and learn from the next time I did get an injury. But I've got to stress that this is probably the first period I've ever had in about 10 years of being out of running. So I'm going to make mistakes in my how I handle an injury, but I'll know really not to overload it too quickly next time. So ideally I would like to get up to Manchester if I could on Sunday, but with going to Boston last weekend and not running a marathon, I don't know how much I can keep taking of this, that I'm taking myself to places where I should be running and not actually running myself. So I'll wait and see how I feel on Sunday. To be honest, I've planned to do a bike ride on Saturday, so to get completely away from it. And yeah, I'm not sure quite what I'll do Sunday morning, but it might not involve going to Manchester. As much as I like to get out there and support friends I've got running, I think back-to-back weekends of going to marathons, and then we've got London the weekend after, it's probably going to do me more harm than good, really, just seeing what I could have had. This is what's been took away from me at Manchester Marathon. And in terms of the videos, I probably won't be quite back as frequently as the weekly videos, but I would like to put a video out when I've got a further update on how my recovery is going, and it's probably going to have its ups and downs. With the nature of the injury, I think it will be giving me a bit of false hope at times, and then I'll go through a rough period where I've got to knock it back down again and listen to my body. So it's going to be a frustrating period for me, but I'll keep plugging on. I don't want to give up. I do see myself back running this summer, but I don't really have a clear time scale on yeah, when I'll be back. So I'll be enjoying the cross training, I'll be enjoying following everyone else's progress with the running, so do let me know how you're getting on. I'll be keeping an eye out and supporting from the sidelines, and until next time, check in with you again.